What up, guys? I'm back, and it's review time again. And we're gonna review Spider-Man 300, a book that I've never owned, but I've always aspired to own. And I read the story online, like on Marvel Unlimited or Comixology, and I love the story, man. So I want to review it, and I'm gonna do an unboxing at the end of the video. So we'll see what's in the box at the end. Enjoy the review. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Cowering in a corner, a beautiful redhead cries and pleads, "Don't, don't come near me, please. Don't touch me." Her name, Mary Jane Watson. Mary Jane, what's wrong? Stay away, please. No more. Hey, hon, it's okay. It's me. Me? Peter. Peter? As she looks up with tears in her eyes, she jumps towards Peter. Oh, God, Peter. He was in the apartment waiting for you, and he looked just like you. Huh? Like Spider-Man? He wore a costume, but he was big and bulky, like a weightlifter. He wanted to know where my boyfriend was. Never mind that. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? No, not physically. He just made me feel so helpless, Mary Jane explained. But what if he's looking for you? He grew a mouth, Peter. Right from the mask, he grew it. He wasn't human. Let's worry about that later. Right now, I'm getting you to a doctor. No, I'm okay. I just can't stay here tonight, Peter. Not after. I understand. I'll throw some things in an overnight bag and we'll just go to a motel. You'll just take it easy, okay? And Peter thinks to himself, Mary Jane's one of the strongest women I know, and she's trembling like a little girl. What kind of monster could do that to her? As he leaves the room, in the Bronx, a silhouetted individual climbs the side of a run-down tenement. Yeah, I know the woman wasn't our target, but shaking her up still worked. If we don't find him, he must find us either way. It's just a matter of time. Guess I'll pump a little iron, pop a sweat. You may not get your power from muscles, buddy, but I sure do. And I want to make certain I'm in shape, for the kill. In a Manhattan hotel, Peter thinks to himself, can't sleep, too tense. Thinking about that intruder could have been, but it's impossible. Don't know who the man was who broke in, but from Mary Jane's description, the inhuman thing she says she saw sounds a lot like my old costume. I first got the black and white suit on another planet during the Beyonder thing. I brought it to Earth because it was great having a costume that can mimic my civilian clothes and change from one to the other at a mental command. The problem started when Mr. Fantastic discovered that my costume was really a living, thinking, symbiotic being. An alien who wanted me for its host even tried to bond itself to my body. It finally took Mr. Fantastic's sonic blaster to capture the creature, but it escaped, determined to join with me permanently. I got desperate. So desperate I lured it to a church tower and let the shattering clamor of the bells kill the monster before it could destroy me. But from what Mary Jane says, the reports of that death may have been somewhat premature. Nuts. I'm really strung tight. In the past, I'd loosen up with a little web slinging, maybe take a few photos for the Daily Bugle, but I'm a married man now, and I have to stay with Mary Jane until... Peter, come to bed. I think I know who terrorized you, Mary Jane, and why they're after Spider-Man. I hoped having a secret identity would shield you, but... Hush, Tiger. When I signed on for better or worse, I meant it. Now let's get some sleep, okay? Mary Jane? Over here, Peter. I hope you weren't calling room service. I already know what I want for breakfast. Silly, I was calling the real estate agent I know. I pulled some markers in, and we've been moved to the top of the waiting list for the Bedford Towers. If we want the condo, it's ours. But it usually takes months to get a good place in Manhattan, Peter explains. I guess we're lucky. I know this is sudden, Peter, but I just can't live in that apartment anymore. I'd scream at every little creak or rattle. You do understand, don't you? Well, I guess, Peter says. I knew you would, Peter. Oh, I love you so much. They said we could look at the condo this afternoon, and I'd really like to get some pre-move pictures, before and after. Okay, I'll pick up my SLR at the apartment after I shower. Great. I'll see what I can do about reserving a van and recruiting some help. Peter thinks to himself, looks like this is working out. My trip to the apartment will make a perfect cover for the other errand I have to run. Ah, good old Chelsea Street. If I had a nickel for every time I've dropped through this skylight, maybe I could afford to pay my share of the condo. Speaking of which, I wonder if there'll be any problems getting in and out of Spider-Man. Guess I'll swing across that bridge when it comes to it. Now I've got other things to worry about and to take precautions against. I borrowed this sonic blaster from the Fantastic Four on my way over. I just hope I don't have to use it. Light blinking on Mary Jane's answering machine. Better see what it is. Hi, kids. This is Aunt May. Just calling to remind you about dinner tonight. Chicken and dumplings. At 7. Sharp. Phooey. I hate these contraptions. Click. Aunt May will get such a kick when she hears about the fancy West Side condo I'm moving into. Quite a step up from this place. Of course, when it comes right down to it, I'm going to miss living here. Sure, it's a dump, but it's been my dump for the last few years. Oh well. Don't know how many pics Mary Jane wants. I've got 36 exposures and 200 in my camera. I hope that's I couldn't be in any danger. Of course my spider senses would be warning me. But somehow I almost feel like I'm being followed, Peter thinks to himself. As Peter ducks into an alley, someone is following him, and the man proceeds to talk to himself lowly. He's ducking into an alley. Must be a shortcut. Blast! No crowd to hide in. We'd better give him a few seconds to get ahead, then... What? He's gone. High above, Peter swings into the air. Living in New York for me so long has made me paranoid. But I can't help believing that old saying, better safe than splattered. A short while later, at the Bedford Towers condominiums, Peter exclaims, wow! I don't believe I'm really going to get to live here. I mean, it's such a big deal when I got my own place. Now I feel like I'm getting my own palace. Hey, Tiger, a top fashion model like yours truly has an image to maintain. Besides, with this kind of space, we almost got enough room for all my clothes. Yeah, I know. It's just going to take some getting used to, and I still wish, that I could help you pay for it. Mary Jane thinks to herself, Peter's really feeling down about my making so much more money than he does, but maybe I can help. Listen, Peter, have you ever thought about fashion photography? Come on, Mary Jane. I don't have the right training for that. Oh, pooh. You'll never know until you try, and I'll make a great subject. How can you go wrong? At least give it a shot. What do you have to lose? Mary Jane says. Well, okay, talk to the camera, babe. Yeah, that's it. That's hot. Now, make me want you. Get it on. All right. Think Cosmo. Think, shouldn't we have like a wind machine or something? Aw, heck. I'm not cut out for this. It just feels silly. It's hopeless. Mary Jane thinks to herself, Peter's getting even worse and more depressed. Got to do something to perk him up. In that case, man o' mine, how about taking some snaps for the private collection? And slowly, Peter's spirits begin to rise. My, you youngsters certainly look healthy. Marriage must agree with you. Apparently it does, May. That nephew of yours has been ignoring you even more than before he got hitched. Now you hush, Nathan Lebinsky. The children have their own lives to lead. I hope you'll forgive me for my little tirade. I'd better go soak these dishes. Oh, dear, you stay where you're at. No, I'll help. Be back in a sec, hun. Uh-huh. Yeah, that was the year Lucky Lindy himself came into the shop. I remember. In the kitchen, Mary Jane asks Aunt May why she hasn't been coming to see them. I don't mean to do that, Mary Jane. I just want your marriage to work. And so many times couples split up because of nosy relatives that try to run their lives. But you're not nosy, May. You just care about us. Why, Peter would be crushed if you dropped out of our lives. And May, so would I. Oh, well, in that case, Peter, if I'm not the first guest you ask to your new home, I'll have the Great Panthers picket that place so fast your head'll spin. Aunt May, I'll have the invitation engraved tomorrow. At Our Lady of Saints Church in Lower Manhattan, a man stands inside the church in the shadows. It all began here. It's only fitting that it should end here, don't you agree? Yes, that's what I thought you would. Freeze! Looks like putting extra foot patrols on the beat worked. The sergeant's gonna flip when I bring in the scumbag who's been peltering the poor boxes in the area. Don't be a fool. Petty cash is no concern to me. Yeah, that's not what the broken lock on the door says. It seems you leave us no choice. And all of a sudden a tendril comes from Eddie Brock's shoe. The tendril slithers across the floor, unbeknownst to the cop. Though you probably won't believe that we find this particular choice rather repulsive. What? The tendril lashes out and engulfs the cop's head. At the same time, Eddie shoots a webbing, muffling the sound of the gunshot. The cop screams, "Can't breathe! Suffocate!" Innocent death is always unpleasant, but nothing must stand in our way. Nothing must block our righteous revenge, and by all that is sacred, nothing will. And with that, the cop falls to the ground dead. The next day at the Bedford Towers, Mary Jane and Peter began the process of moving in their new apartment. Peter asks, "Who are these people?" Mary Jane exclaims, "I ran out of your friends, Peter, so I called a few of my friends." And with the help of their friends, Mary Jane and Peter get all their stuff moved into the new place. Mary Jane begins to serve snacks to people, telling them to dig in. And outside on the patio, Peter and Robbie are talking. Give any thought on my suggestions, Peter, about getting out of news photography? You're the Bugle's editor-in-chief, Robbie. How could I not take you seriously? In fact, I've been thinking about how science used to be my driving ambition. Excuse me, Robbie, there's something I have to do. Need any help? No, I think I better handle this alone. As Peter looks and sees an individual web-swinging, dressed in black. Minutes later, Spider-Man's in hot pursuit. Thinking to himself, that creep must have checked Chelsea Street and found I wasn't living there anymore, and now he's looking for me. And I couldn't take a chance of him finding me with all my friends around. I just hope he hasn't gotten so far ahead that... Bingo! Crawling into that abandoned building. I'll just follow, scope out the situation, and then take him by surprise. After all, my spider senses will warn me if there's any danger. Ugh! Spider-Man is slammed into the wall with a thud and loses his sonic blaster that was strapped to his back with webbing. Welcome to my neighborhood, Spider-Man. Could you be my neighbor? This guy is nuts, Peter thinks to himself. But that costume's giving me the shivers. It's gotta be the alien. Have to stall, reach the blaster. Who are you? You may call me Venom, but that's what I'm paid to spew out these days. I'm your victim, Spider-Man. I'm the innocent you ruined. But I still don't know who. Perhaps this will help. Mask flowing from his face looks familiar. Peter thinks to himself, Eddie Brock? Ah, you've seen my pictures in the Daily Bugle. Indeed, I used to be Eddie Brock before you stole my career, erased my future, obliterated everything I lived for. My column in the Daily Globe was read by millions. I was a solid reporter, a respected member of the Fourth Estate. At least I was in the beginning when I was writing a series of articles on the Sin Eater murders months back. It was partly because of those articles I was contacted by a Mr. Emil Gregg, a man who confessed to being the Sin Eater. Protecting Mr. Gregg's identity through my rights under the First Amendment, I told his story, but pressure also mounted. The police insisted that I reveal my source so they could put an end to the murders. Under advice of counsel, I finally wrote my masterpiece, announcing Gregg as the Sin Eater. It was a sensation. As Eddie Brock begins to tell his story, Peter reaches slowly for the sonic blaster. That's it. Keep talking. For about an hour and a half. That's how long it was before you revealed who the real Sin Eater was. Soon the whole city knew the Sin Eater was actually policeman Stan Carter, and that my story was based on alluded ramblings of a compulsive confessor. The Globe was a laughing stock. I was fired. My peers questioned my ethics, shunned me. I was forced to write venomous celebrity exposés, and I was kidnapped by aliens, driven scandal rags just to make a living. If you hadn't butted in, no one would have ever known that Emil Gregg wasn't the Sin Eater. Perhaps Carter would have been smart and stopped his killings, knowing that he would get off scot-free. Perhaps. As Eddie rambles on, Spidey reaches closer for the blaster. Just a little more. My life wouldn't have been shattered. I might have made some errors in judgment, but I was always a good journalist, and the garbage I was forced to write began to rot my soul. I relocated to the Bronx and spent part of my meager income on bodybuilding equipment. I heard that exercise could reduce stress. It didn't work. Whenever I lifted a dumbbell, I felt like I was squeezing your throat. Each time I punched a heavy bag, I was pummeling your face. I taped headlines about you all on the walls to feed my hatred, and I knowing that I couldn't get a story on even the back of a respectable newspaper, until finally the pain became unbearable. Spidey has gotten even closer to the blaster, and he thinks to himself, almost there. So I decided to end it all. But I was raised Catholic, and suicide is a mortal sin, so I wandered from church to shadow church praying for forgiveness. And then at Our Lady of Saints, something odd happened. A shadow moved, caressed me. I was joined, but this was a shadow filled with light. It clarified my anguish, focused my purpose. Its hatred for you matched my own. I knew who you were, and it had the power. Oh, such power. We found the woman first. Later, we found your empty apartment. You were running from us. But the shadow knew you well. Knew you'd have to learn who we were. So we went trolling, using ourselves as a lure, and apparently the bait. Spidey thinks to himself, now. Worked. Spidey thinks to himself, got it. Lunging for your weapon, trying to fight me. Good. And with that, the symbiote reappears over Eddie Brock's face, and a smile comes across. He slams both fists into the ground, sending a shockwave, sending Spidey flying back and the weapon away from him. The floor gives way, and Spidey and the weapon fall through, and Spidey thinks to himself, I think I'm in trouble. The alien wasn't killed by the bells. must have been dissipated out of pain or rejection. Probably sensed Brock's desire to kill me and thought it was a good idea, and just then Venom swings down and kicks Spidey in the face. Since I tried to kill it, still don't know why Venom's not triggering my spider senses though, and I'm paying for that ignorance and pain. He's got all my powers and more muscle. All I've got is experience. Have to use strategy, all my cunning, to get him over to the blaster. Venom slams Spidey's head into the ground. So much for finesse. Spidey grabs a steel beam girder and knocks Venom off of him long enough to reach for the weapon. Now, you son of a... He pulls the trigger and a concentrated beam of sonic energy hits Eddie Brock and the symbiote, causing it to wither in pain. Yeah! I don't get it. When Mr. Fantastic used the blaster on me, the symbiote was driven away, but it's only pulling away from Brock. Why isn't it detaching itself? Unless it can't be. It must have completely bonded with his body. That's why he isn't triggering my spider sense. The alien never tripped it. And now he is the alien, which means that if I kill it, I kill Brock. I don't know if I can take a human life even to save my own, and after the beating I took, I don't have much fight left. I better regroup and come up with a new plan. Eddie wakes up thinking, leaving? As Spidey swings out the window and away from the building, Venom shoots a web, catching the tip of his foot. He yanks the webbing, pulling Spidey back. What? He comes crashing through the building, and Venom grabs Spidey by the suit. Night, night. Whop! Blackness comes over Spidey. As Spidey comes to, he hears a voice. Welcome back to the land of the living, Spider-Man. What a pity your stay will be a short one. As Spidey realizes he's webbed on the inside of a bell. What? Lord. Apropos sentiments considering the circumstances. Just as my altered garb is appropriate after all, we are, in a manner of speaking, about to exorcise a demon. You tried to kill my shadow with these bells, Spider-Man. It seems only fair that now we should use them to kill you. The central bell is about to toll midnight, but you'll be gut-jammed by the time it strikes 2. We must leave. When the clapper squishes through to the bare metal, the noise could be painful to us. But I promise, we'll return to view the remains. As Brock leaves, Spidey begins to think to himself, Venom's webbings are as strong as mine. Must have used gallons of it to web me to this bell. Can hardly move. Have to figure a way out somehow. In the distance, other bells are starting to ring, but that means... Oh, geez, the clapper's pulling back. No time to be fancy. Gotta use brute strength. Try to push one hand through, like trying to scratch through an iron cast glove. But it's the only chance I've... Phew! Stopped it once, but how many times can I pull that stunt before the bones in my hand are crushed to powder? Below, Eddie looks at his watch. Strange. We should have heard something by now. A crunch, a scream, something. Back above. Now or never. Won't be able to stop it again. Maybe I don't have to have the strength to pull myself from the webbing in time, but I'll bet my good right arm that the automated bell ringing machinery does. Retracting clapper yanked me free. Thank heaven. My arm feels like it's been the main event of a taffy pull, but at least I'm... Forgot about the tolling. That was foul, Spider-Man. Cheap and beggarly. You broke the rules. Now you'll have to be punished. Spidey thinks to himself, I could stay here and let the bells do the trick, but that could kill me too. Gotta get room to breathe so I can keep on breathing. Think, Spidey. How can you fight this guy? He has the same powers as you, the same webbing, the same... Wait. He doesn't have the same webbing. When I wore the alien suit, I never needed cartridges for webbing. I never even knew where the webbing came from. And I remember Puma saying the webbing was organic. That must mean that the alien makes its own substance and he has to regenerate it over time, and that could be the key to survival. Spidey rips up a piece of metal from the top of the church. As Venom jumps up on top, he kicks him off, and Venom goes to shoot a web line. Fury is right. The alien makes webbing from itself, and since it used so much of it to web me to the bell, it's got to be running low. As Venom falls, he screams, "No!" If I keep forcing Venom to use that webbing to keep from falling, his reserves could deplete. He'll be like a human being with a bad wound, losing lots of blood. He'll get weaker and weaker until finally he runs out. Venom screams on his way down as he hits the concrete with a loud thump. Spidey comes down to check on Brock. Brock's alive, and so's the alien, though it hasn't regenerated enough of its mass to be a threat yet. I'll need to contain them both, but that'll have to wait for now. If only I can remember Mary Jane's calling card number. Bedford Towers? This is Mr. Parker from 8C. We have moved in and I don't have a phone yet. Could you possibly pass a message along to my wife?
Be my pleasure, sir. What's the glad word?
Just tell her I had to photograph a news story and that I'll be home soon. And most of all, tell her I'm okay. Sometime later at 4 Freedoms Plaza, current team leader Benjamin Grimm completes improvised security arrangements.
I've been on the horn with Mr. Fantastic, and he says these sonic beams, pipes, instance of cylinders to keep the Venoms nice and docile, leastwise. Till a special cell can be built for them at the vault, the government super prison out in the Rockies.
I really appreciate this, Ben.
Hey, no problem. Only next time you're trying to bring your loonies up in here a little earlier, will you?
Back at Bedford Towers. What's wrong, MJ? You seem awful distant. I said I was sorry. I did what I felt I had to do. I understand, Peter, really, and I'm glad you're okay. Then why the icebox treatment? Is it because I have to go right back out again? Sweetheart, if I don't go show up at this bugle for the photography or something tomorrow, Robbie and the others will get suspicious about why I disappeared from the party. I have to. I know. I didn't mean to snap at you, Peter, but you're right. I am upset. Only it's not because of you. It's because of, well, that. After all we've been through, I don't think I'll ever be comfortable around that costume. Yeah, I know what you mean. Wearing the same outfit as a homicidal maniac doesn't thrill me either. And since it's impossible to get Venom's suit away from him, I guess I'll have to do without mine. Of course, swinging around the city in my web shooters and Fruit of the Looms isn't going to help my image. I have an idea about that, Peter. I know it's not the real costume, just a commercial copy you got from when you were in Germany. But right now, it just seems like an old friend. What do you think? Mary Jane, I think you're the greatest. The legend begins anew. Alright, so that was the review of Spider-Man 300, the first appearance of Venom. And as you can see back here, I've got Secret Wars number 8, the actual issue where he gets the suit that later becomes Venom. And over here, this is Marvel Team Up 141. This ties for 252 for the first appearance of him in the series wearing the black suit. So it's kind of relevant as well. But let's get to this unboxing. If you give me a second, I will unbox this and I'll show you what I got or what I picked up from this box off of eBay. Hold on one second. So you know it must be important if it was already in this box and we basically have it in another box. So hold on one second. I'll get this other box open. Now this is how you're supposed to send some stuff. Like, the only other person I know that sends this good is Black House Comics, and this is a slab. So hold on one second. All right, I got it open. Now just give me a second, and I'm gonna move this one out of the way. Move this back here. And I finally have picked up a copy of Spider-Man 300. And you can see it's in an 8.5. I'm very, very happy to get this. This was on my list, actually for 2019. But I was able to pull it off for an early Christmas present. So, and 8.5 or anything like 7 and up to me is a solid grade. Like, I don't know, it's just like an 8.5. Like, I'm happy to have that. It's white pages, beautiful cover, man. I've seen this like everywhere, and everybody has one, and I've never owned one. And for me to finally have one in my collection is just awesome. The only thing that could be better is if it was signed, but I didn't want to shell out the extra money for that. I was just happy to get an 8.5. So this is my Spider-Man 300 and 8.5 white pages, and this was what was in the box. This is my early Christmas present to myself, and I'm glad to go put this on the mantle. This is awesome. So you guys have a good one. Catch you in the next video. Remember my motto: low grade's better than no grade, because if you don't got a grade, you can't get in the game. And yeah, man, just happy to have this book. See you in the next video.